You're entering Corsi Nation.
This is Jerome Corsi, and today it's Tuesday. It's June 10th, 2025. Thanks for joining us. We see what's going on in the country right now. Thank you for joining us at CorsiNation.com. Doing podcasts every weekday. And you can find me on X at Corsi Jerome 1. And so at Corsi, CorsiJerome 1, Substack, Jerome Corsi PhD.substack.com. We're going to cover the riots today. The riots are going on in LA. And Chris, why don't you come on and join? We'll kind of do this one as commentator, because commentating back and forth, because we're going to show a lot of videos. And I like your outhouse there in the background.
Oh yeah, that was the show I'm trying to resurrect pretty soon. When I have time to do it, I'll re-put together the Outhouse Lounge. I still have some of those past shows up on YouTube, so they're fun actually.
They're fun. Those are good shows. They're fun to do. Okay, well, we got the rioting going on in LA, and now the left wants to have these riots going all over the country and all over the world. Here we go again. More communism. Actually, I think the Democratic Party and the left have morphed. They've become communists. There's no doubt they're communist. All their slogans are communist. It hasn't changed since the 1950s. They want democracy. What they mean by democracy is, their rule and intolerance of anybody who thinks. They say they're for the people, which means they want to exploit minorities so they can gain power. We've seen this stupid, tired routine now for too many since 1950s, and it's getting old. I think the American people are getting sick and tired of it. The problem is it's being funded, and so we're finding these groups behind the rioting in LA are funded millions and millions of dollars, largely by California, but also Act Blue. And we're going to start exposing the Act Blue scam. Now Act Blue funds everyone. And by the way, I'm traveling today, so we're in an Airbnb, so you're probably going to see people moving around in the background. But we're in Washington, D.C. Some meetings here for Washington. There's a group of us. And we're going to try to get things organized here with Department of Justice, with some things with Department of Homeland Security. These riots are certainly in everybody's mind, and law enforcement, I think, is coming to the forefront now as a consideration of the country. Under Biden, of course, what happened was that you saw and Obama too. I mean, the whole country was constantly under you get a George Floyd incident. We have all the protests all over the country, and everybody loves George Floyd and says, "Oh, this is racism," and so the news runs this out and reports on it. It's all a scam. It's all a constructed, scripted event. All these events follow a pattern, and we're going to see the pattern in LA. I'm going to point it out to you. Okay, but again, what's happening is different now. This is not 2020 trying to destroy Donald Trump's presidency the first time around. Now Donald Trump has got the National Guard out. He's going to deploy the Army or the Marines. It's going to be military now. Why? Because you saw what the Democrats want to do is they want to say we're going to show some videos here. Chris is getting them queued up, and all the Democrats want they support the MS-13 gangs in the country. They support mother rapers, father rapers, baby rapers, and anybody else who kills, steals, and robs. They support burning the flag. We've seen this now since the 1960s. So let's see some of these stupid people. If they don't like the United States of America, we got a place to send them back home. Well, they're Americans don't like it. They get out of here. So they're pouring inflammatory. They're trying to burn the flag, and they're pouring on the flag inflammatory liquid burn faster. Dare to struggle, they say. Well, dare to go. These people are ridiculous. They make you angry. It's a Freedom News TV.
Did you hear the chant though?
What's the chant say?
Well, there are a lot of chants, and again, we can go on about how the far left and leftists love to chant because they're attracted to cult-like symbolism. But make it great like 92.
Make it great.
Remember they're referring backward to the Rodney King riots.
Rodney King, right? That's what I thought. Well, what these kids don't remember 1968,
Many of them weren't even born yet.
5 Watts riots. They think this is something new. So they got Mexican flags. Right today, they'll substitute U.S. flags because the optics aren't good with Mexican flags. So what are they chanting now?
Well, they're coming up with random chants at this point: anti-Trump, no ICE, that sort of thing. And again, referring back to Rodney King, they just want to cause trouble.
Okay, so they're burning flags. So enough of this. I've seen all this before. Mexican flags, and they have all their outfits, and they're trying to cover their faces so they won't be recognized. These people are all going to be videotaped and arrested, and we have the law enforcement to do it. We'll chase them down. Let's see some of these car scenes. I mean, these people are arresting people in cars because they're in the middle of this. They're taking over cities. They're trying to break down the highways. This one here about this guy. This is a white car. There's a guy trying to stop it. He's in front of it. He's trying to stop the car, running backwards in front of the car, holding onto the hood. And the car is just going slowly. There's people on the other side, both sides of him, videotaping it with their cell phones, trying to make this street theater out of this. And so the car's trying to get away. I mean, these people in these cars, now the guy trips and falls, the car hits him. So suddenly, now the car is at fault. The car was vicious. Yes. The vicious car hit somebody.
Yep. Car 1, protester nothing. Try this one here. A reporter actually spins this one, Jerry, to make it look like the driver was out or drivers are out hunting protesters. But watch this and listen to what the reporter's saying.
Erupt in LA as Trump deploys National Guard. Yeah, they're all freedom fighters.
It's important to remember that even that deployment, which was wanted by the governor, was quite. So you're seeing this is live. Yeah, you're seeing not great conduct. And I wonder where the police are there.
It's a car turning around. Seeing, it's an SUV turning around in circles.
The deployment of a military asset that's not aligned with state and locals, and we know from the LA riots that was not very organized. So
not very organized protests.
Here it comes.
You're seeing now this car is leaving, but it's on everyone's video. So I think what's happening is you're getting people against the protesters now coming using vehicles to try to harm them or
the people who are
the woman's name
is trying to get out of these things.
The woman's name is Julia Klein.
The victims are now the aggressors, right? So now we're going to hear all the themes about people in the cars are the ones who are mowing down these freedom fighting protesters, otherwise known as thugs, criminals, vigilantes, insane Antifa, property destruction, attacking federal buildings. They're all going to be arrested. They're all going to go to prison. When they all go to prison, they're all going to cry for their mothers. Mommy, mommy. Like little babies. And they go to prison and face the judge that's going to put them away. Of course, finding judges in California to do this is going to be a trick. If any of them are illegal, they're going to be deported. And for rioting. You can't come here and riot and be protected by the left. So let's see some more. You got some more videos?
Well, here's something for you. I got some. I know you've seen a lot of the protester videos already, but let's watch something that caught my eye. It was there was somebody supplying and handing out these bionic masks, bionic face masks.
So you can't be recognized by all of these.
Yes, and of course for their protection as well. So we'll take a look at that right now. Here's some footage of this.
Describe where it just feels like something's going to happen and you're waiting for it to happen.
Let us clarify, because we've been showing a wide shot and from a different angle.
A
whole lot of officers on the other side of the federal building, almost behind you, and perhaps
that's a lot of money. And they're supplying the protesters so they have equipment out of the back of a pickup truck.
Well, there was a video I posted, or I saw yesterday and posted on another program about where there are cinder blocks delivered by some mystery organization or group or person to the protesters.
Same in 2020 where they were delivering. Remember when they took over cities and they
delivered
barricades and everything, and so they could barricade the cities. There's a guy with a mask. Okay, now what these people don't realize is the manipulation, the deep state here, which causes these protests in order for a police reaction So the people say, let's get more police and give more security. So again, the game here is not that these protesters even know what they're doing. They're actors in somebody else's drama. So from the globalist point of view, this is good because it gets more laws like the Patriot Act, takes away more of our freedoms, denies us more of our. These guys don't realize they're just being manipulated. They think they're fighting for freedom. They're actually fighting to lose their freedoms, because the first thing that happens when the totalitarian globalists take over is they get rid of all these people. They kill millions, and the first ones to go are the guys who got them into power. It happened in Russia when Russia went communist. It happened in China. It's in virtually every one of the communist revolutions. It's the game plan. And these actors, these people out in the streets, causing chaos, harming people, destroying property, engaging in chaos, blocking highways. They think they think it's a noble cause for freedom. They're fighting racism. No, they're just stupid actors in somebody else's play. So here they are, typical scenes like we've seen since the 1950s. They burn things. They try to burn down buildings. And here it looks to me like they've got a higher level of explosives and a higher level of weaponry with this left. Do you see that, Chris?
I see that. I'm sure a lot of these people are supplied. Of course, this is Los Angeles, so many of these writers probably found an easy way to get these supplies either sent to them or, of course, just maybe even had them in the first place.
Yeah, I mean, these are certainly the kinds of people coming out of college you want to employ, right?
Oh, of course.
Don't ruin your business.
Notice all the Mexican flags they're flying, not even flying the American flag. If people wanted to be citizens here and wanted to live here and legitimately wanted a path that way, they wouldn't be trying to turn the place into Mexico and flying Mexican flags and saying the U.S. flag is not their flag.
Okay, so you're just watching here a staged drama to push the country into totalitarianism that we've seen going on since the 1950s. We've had race riots going back, had race events going back into lynching right after the Civil War. I've written a lot about this over the years. I was writing about this in the 1960s. It's all just a pattern. And, the race riots were at least rooted to a large extent in a desire to end racial discrimination. But racial discrimination is not DEI. DEI is racism on steroids, because it says if you're white, you don't have any rights. So we're seeing here just these people don't have any clue what they're really doing, but they think that they're on a great mission for freedom.
So here's a question for you. If people who gathered on January 6th to question an election and have like a picnic and just assemble, mostly peacefully, just assembled there and walked into the White House upon invitation, and there is footage of this, is an insurrection. What do you call this? This is a blatant obstruction of government government enforcement. This is a blatant attack on those who are trying to enforce the law, and a destruction of a city in the process. And again, there'll be multiple cities pretty soon because this the June 14th situation. But think about this. This is, or would you call this an insurrection? Would you call it that?
This is just act up time.
Insurrection theater. How about that?
Well, it's insurrection theater. Yeah, I mean, these kids don't have a clue what they're really doing, and it's organized. First of all, there's money. So the government money from California and Act Blue, which is using money from the border and child sex labor. We're going to expose that here pretty soon. All these things are just money going into support the destruction of America. So, you've got a lot of end days Satanism going on where it's been building. And the patience of destructing a society, which goes back into the 1950s. If you'll show the cover of my book on the truth about Neo-Marxism, cultural Maoism, and anarchy. I wrote a lot about the political philosophy behind this. That book is going to be, I think, one of my better books over time. But what you have is Marxism failed. The workers of the world in 1848, like Marx predicted, did not rise up against capitalism. Capitalism morphed and it had labor union movement, and you found that's the book. And this woke insanity, an age of disinformation. So the nature of what happened was Neo-Marxism decided they were going to attack the culture of capitalism. And that resulted ultimately in the Frankfurt School writers like Herbert Marcuse, who said the only way to have freedom is through uninhibited sexuality, that eros would free us, that we would have let go of our libido and we would suddenly be free, as if we're, and they started reading Freud into Marxism. Freud said that, sexual repression is what starts the Oedipus complex and other psychological abnormalities. If we weren't sexually repressed, we would be free. So he started exploring all of these sexual, fantasies and occurrences back into childhood. And so he started the pedophilia movement really starts with Freud. And when you see the cultural Maoism, which is the attempt to get these people mobilized so they tear down and destroy traditions, they tear down statues, they destroy history, they destroy the family, they destroy God. And then it results in anarchy, and you're seeing the anarchy stage of it now. Show this additional. This is another interesting one here of the rioting. Got another bit. There's lots of videos of this.
Oh, it gets more interesting. Watch what these people do.
So they're opening up a trunk of a vehicle.
It gets better. It gets better. Watch. Just watch closely.
They're pouring gasoline into it also that they can burn it.
Yep.
They're going to do a burning of a vehicle.
Oh, yes.
Now, why do they like to burn?
This gets much better.
So he burned it, and he caught on fire. And of course, he didn't know what he was doing. So he burned himself. So I'm sure he suffered, serious burns as a result of that. Flames just engulfed him, and he had gasoline all over him. It's worth showing. And these people are fundamentally stupid. They don't even know how to riot.
Oh my gosh, they're rioting amateurs, but I guess some of them are paid, but they still don't know what they're doing. They're just there it's almost like a party for these people. It really is.
Yeah, it's kind of like you used to go down to southern Florida during spring break and go wild and have parties and get drunk and cause mayhem. So now what they do is they riot.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
exactly.
Burn down the city.
Try this one on for size, Dr. Corsi. This is a reporter trying to spin the idea that these protesters are burning cars. You got to hear this. ABC has been absolutely horrible in its reporting, by the way. Of this whole
ABC, they're all terrible.
But it's worse than ever because they're trying them. Look, we expect MSNBC and the mainstream media and all these people to try to report to us like we're morons. But this one takes the cake. Just listen to what this guy says. Oh, I got to get the volume up here. But listen to what this guy says about the car burnings.
Large group of people, it could turn very volatile if you move law enforcement in there in the wrong way and turn what is just a bunch of people having fun watching cars burn into
a bunch of people having fun watching cars burn.
Yeah, I mean okay, so they destroyed Portland, Oregon, and the Biden administration did nothing about it. Obama did nothing about it. Nobody did anything about it. When Obama started all this nonsense with the, George Floyd and all these other incidents with Eric Holder out trying to flame up everybody. Oh, it's horrible. The police have shot a black guy, an innocent black guy. So the evil police are out killing black people because they're racist. So that was the theme in the Obama years. Then Biden comes along and they're trying to get rid of Trump. And so there's protests all over again, George Floyd type protests. So they're repeating the Obama theme, but they're heading into it. We have to resist Trump because, Orange Man bad. He's an authoritarian. He's a king. He doesn't believe in freedom. So they invent all kinds of things to Donald Trump to accuse Donald Trump of doing that they're doing. You know, they're the intolerant ones. They're the ones who don't want speech, free speech. They're the ones who want to insist on DEI. So incompetent people are put in positions because of their race. And they do air traffic controls so the planes crash, you know, have chaos. That's okay, as long as it's a person of color doing it. Okay, so this whole insanity, and it becomes then postmodernism, and there is no right and wrong. These people are creating their own reality. Let's imagine. Let's reimagine the police. Let's reimagine prisons. Well, why don't John Lennon, imagine there was no God. You know, people will say we are dreamers, but we're not the only ones. Yeah, well, John Lennon, you know, maybe we ought to reimagine the world without John Lennon. That might be a better world, a world with God in it instead of his demons. So we have to put up with John Lennon's demons. Now we have to put up with these people's demons. And what's behind it is money and globalism and an attempt to destroy society. That's the point I'm going to go back to. The solution to it is what Donald Trump's preparing to do. The only way to control this violent activity is massive force, arrest them, prosecute them, deport them. Once they realize there's consequences to this behavior, it will not be so much fun. If there's no consequences to it, then they're going to encourage it. It accelerates. So now they're attacking the police stations, and they'll burn them down, you know, and kill police, and destroy the cities, disrupt traffic, make so people can't go to work, make it so people are afraid to go out of their homes. You know, that's the whole goal of these things. And then the police come in and get it. Well, then it pushes it towards more and more authoritarian control in order to stop the rioting. So they're playing for the reaction, but yet there's no alternative but to the reaction. And so therefore, the real issue here is, yes, let's get the protesters off the streets, but let's go behind that to another level. Let's go to the Newsoms and the media who are instigating this and supporting it. Let's instigate criminal activity on their behalf. Okay, so you get Comey or the others talking about, you know, with their little seashells with messages. Those are dog whistles. Those are telling other people it's okay, go ahead and try to do X, Y, Z. And I think everybody knows what I'm talking about. So, you know, Obama says it's times we get out our weapons. And these are dog whistles. These people are saying it's okay. You've got permission. Now's the time. Those are the signals. And then triggering all these riots in June, targeting June 14th. And so we've got a group out there now that is saying no kings. Okay, so they're saying Donald Trump is a king. And so therefore we have to get rid of him because he's a king. They don't want authoritarian power. They want this left, you know, liberalism of, you know, I think I'm a transgender turtle from, you know, the 1300 China. And so that's not schizophrenic. That's, we all got to respect that and change our pronouns. No, we don't have to change any damn pronouns. We have to go and find the people who fund this, people who write about it, people who are producing this ideology. We have to put them in prison. Okay, because it's the only way to restore God. It's the only way to restore here. These people are satanic in nature. It's time for them to go back to hell. And, you know, that's where a righteous force has to, at this point, get things under control. But the point is, none of this will be solved until we get back to families. None of this will be solved until we get back to God. And since the churches are corrupt, who wants to sit in the Catholic Church where the priest is a homosexual or a pedophile? We read the Bible in liberation theology, where Jesus is here to be preaching Karl Marx. Well, Jesus did not prefigure Karl Marx. He prefigured God and salvation. His message needed no completion. It was complete when he gave it. And our situation in life is not perfectible. We're not going to end up with a utopia that these people promise. You'll end up with a hellhole, a prison hellhole in which you die out of starvation, or they kill you intentionally with one way or another. And they're capable of creating all kinds of ways to kill you. It's not thermonuclear war. It'll be another way. So do we have any more videos of these? That we've seen the car burnings. We've seen the people trying to escape. Any more videos that are interesting of this?
I have a rather entertaining one because never fear, Maxine is here. Maxine Waters tried to throw her weight around to the ICE people over the weekend, and I thought this would be a rather entertaining video for you.
In and grandstand it, and Pocahontas was there too, and they fly in on airplanes at public expense to make sure that they can be filmed with the protesters. So here we go.
Hello, hello, hello. Congresswoman Waters. I just came to use my congressional authority to check on these.
Lobby securely now to all visitors.
Excuse me, I need to get in.
Contact our public appeal.
I need to get in.
The officer just shut the door on her. Congressional privilege.
What are you hoping to do, Congresswoman?
I just want to see David Werta. Right.
Yeah, right. Go back to Washington.
Would a congressperson normally?
Yeah, nobody cares about her anymore.
No, I mean, what the Democratic Party doesn't realize is that they are committing suicide. That when the American people see this, the American people are tired of it. The American people have had enough of these people. We don't need more of them. And, that we continue to get them the way they're coming on is not going to be attractive to the American people. It's not going to be winning people over to their side. And they just don't get that. So I'm seeing increasingly that what we're finding here is that the Democratic Party is embracing things now that the American people do not want. They don't want the transgenderism. They don't want the riots in the streets. They don't want the economic disruption. They want to get all this nonsense off of the news. They're tired of the woke. Okay? And the Democratic Party doesn't get it. Democratic Party is doubling down on stupid. And this Democratic Party has now gone not only communist, it's gone, I think, it's traitorous. It hates America, and the hatred of America just oozes out in these demonstrations. So when Americans see this, it is frightening. It is out of control. And Americans are going to say it only supports and reinforces the MAGA party. Trump's numbers are only going to go up as a result of this. Chris?
Well, I have another video for you if you'd like. Check this out.
One more.
Because you cannot have a riot in a big city, in a blue city in America, without the looters.
Oh, yeah, the looters are right there.
Exactly.
All with their hoodies, and they don't think they can be recognized. Okay, and they're just taking a store and just whatever is in there, they're just taking it out. They don't really care. Just grab loot and get out. Okay, so the store is now completely taken out of all of its merchandise, which of course is another part of the globalist plan. And you can't run a retail establishment if looters come in and there's no police protection. So what begins to happen is the whole social order breaks down. These stores close. Central cities are abandoned. The property taxes go down. Buildings are empty. Okay, look at Union Square in San Francisco, filled with homelessness. I mean, this again is the destruction of America, the willful destruction of America. And it's got to stop. This is Dr. Jerome Corsi, and again, as we're seeing all this, I think we're seeing this as the death throes of the left for now. Now they'll be back, and they're going to act this out. It's going to be an ugly game. They're going to try to get Donald Trump to bring in military, and then they're going to try to demonize Donald Trump for bringing in the military. I think the problem is unless they can steal elections, these people don't have a hope. And by the way, God's Five Stones, we're raising more money. We're going for another round. The president is on our track. He's working. I think we're going to have an executive order here coming down pretty quickly, probably before the end of the summer. And our elections in 2026 are not going to be stolen the way they were 2024 or 2020. We're going to get order back. And the best way we can do it is to get rid of these leftist treason traitors. And God's Five Stones, which is a matter of picking up the 5 stones that God had ordained for David to go after Goliath. We've looked at the algorithms that are in these databases, and now the President of the United States is aware of them. I'm working with Peter Tickton very closely, and this is going to stop. This is Dr. Jerome Corsi. This is CorsiNation.com. Thank you for joining us. In the end, God always wins, and God will win here too. And please join me in Spirit of 2 Chronicles 7:14. We've got to get on our knees and ask God to forgive us for letting this insanity get to this point. It's not the America we've known and loved. We've got to get back to family, got to get back to God, and we've got to ask for God's forgiveness of being inattentive to these fundamental truths, these biblical truths that we now need to get back into our churches, and we need to teach our children. Dr. Jerome Corsi, thank you for joining us. CorsiNation.com. We'll be back every weekday. We'll be back tomorrow. God bless.